You're watching VATV, bringing Brookline home.
Why, everywhere you go, sunshine follows you. Everywhere you go, skies are always blue. Children love you, they seem to know. You bring roses up from the snow. Oh, the whole world says hello. Everywhere you go.
Welcome to the Seymour Ziskend Show and All Ships at Sea, broadcasting from Brookline, Massachusetts, the United States of America. And here is your host, the one and only Seymour Ziskend. Take it away, Seymour.
Thank you, Terry, and welcome again to our show. As I tell you so many times, we look for the best guests, and we have a great guest right now. He represents a country known all over the world for its beauty, for winter sports, for its food. But I'm not going to go into that. The country is Switzerland. And I have the Consul General as my guest. And his name is Felix. Felix, my pleasure having you there as my guest. It's an honor. So tell me, you're brand new to the post here in Boston, and we want to welcome you. And we'd like to have you talk about your country, Switzerland. There are many people out there that say to themselves, I'd like to visit Switzerland, but I know very little about it. But I know where it is. It's somewhere in Europe. Somewhere is right. But we're going to know more about it, and from an authority, the Consul General, no less. So with that, it's all yours, Felix. Take it away.
Seymour, thank you very much to have me at your show, and also giving me the opportunity to give a few insights to Switzerland. I guess most of your viewers already have been in Europe and also have been in Switzerland. So I guess it would be nice to show also a few more elements on the country. So as you mentioned, it is in fact, it's a very beautiful country, and it's also neutral. So this is how we are sitting in middle of Europe. So if you permit, I would like to also show a few images on the country, maybe some of them very well known, but I would like also to show many new images. But I think will your viewers really surprise, because on one hand you have the landscape, the beauty of the landscape, but on the other hand the landscape is also here to show additional elements. So most probably I think it's good, a very good start to begin with the Matterhorn. As you just mentioned before the show, it's not a horn, and I like this element very much. It's horn because we have many mountains in Switzerland, and often the naming of the mountains is a horn. So we have it in many names. So it's not only the Matterhorn, but we have different horns as well in the name of the mountain. So let's start with this one here, the Matterhorn. As you see, with this one very traditional image here. It's without doubt, it's one of the most famous mountains in the world, and it's actually pretty high. It's 4,500 meters, which relates to 14,700 feet, I would say. And it is in each direction, so it has, like a pyramid, it has 4 sides, and it goes in each direction, like south, north, east, and west. And as you look at this mountain also with different facades, this is also one of the most famous, where you have the lake and it's reflected in the lake. Or what I like in this view, so you see the Matterhorn a little bit differently. So it's shown really very, very much in behind the Matterhorn. But what you almost don't see on this image, for example, is a very, very small element at the bottom of this image. And this is the Monte Rosa hut. So there's another mountain just next to it, which is called the Monte Rosa. Monte Rosa is the highest mountain in Switzerland. It's 15,000 feet. So it's the highest, really the highest mountain. In total we have about, and this is also interesting to know, we have about 100 mountains that are higher than 4,000 meters. So this is a kind of the upper limit what we took. And I mean, it's just gorgeous to see one of the highest here. And why I wanted to show this Monte Rosa hut, so it's for people who would like to climb the highest mountains. They can often not do everything in one stretch, so they have to stay for one night, and in the early next morning they have to continue their travel. So,
do they have a guide?
They usually have a guide because it's kind of dangerous in fields where you don't know the habit, also the climate. The weather can change very quickly, so it's often very important to have a guide. It's also for your safety. It's better to have a guide when you climb a mountain. And so usually the guests, when they climb the mountains, they stay at the hut. So this is a very modern hut. So it opened just a couple of years ago. And as you see, also when it's getting dark, it's an extremely beautiful hut.
What is it we're watching there on the screen?
Yes. Well, what you see at the screen?
Right there.
Right there. What you can see is actually the hut itself. It's with a solar panel on one side. And on the other hand, what you also see, it's packed in aluminium. So it's self-sustained, so it doesn't need almost any extra energy. And there's no other hut around. So actually, it can run almost by itself, 90%. It takes the energy of the sun. And it's also a very nice concept to show that basically, if you have a very nice building and it's well done, you don't need extra energy. And this is how it's built here. It has 5 stories, and over 150 people can stay in this hut.
What kind of heating do they have in these homes?
In this, it's a very modern home. It's heated, so you see the windows around, and it takes in a lot of sunlight, and the warmness of the sun is heating the building. So you can, on one hand, you can heat the whole building. Inside it's wood, so it's a very beautiful inside. And also the solar panel helps to generate electricity. So it's a kind of a combination to have the heat, but on the other hand, you also need electricity. So this is stored for the night, so it's in batteries, so you can use it whenever you need. Yeah. Please, I think once we have seen also this fact that all this great nature, and you also have on the other hand, you have these landmarks like the hut before, and please allow me also to show you the next very nice dam. So actually in Switzerland we have many dams, so where we create electricity, and it's simply very nice also to see how it's embedded in the nature, but it also shows how the electricity, like in this case, it's hydroelectric generation of the power. So you can see that this dam in some cases is used, and I just brought this example of the Grimsel See, so it's a Grimsel Lake, which is a dam that in the evening when the electricity is not used, it can pump up the water. And during the day when you need it, it's used again to generate electricity when it's in high demand. And here's a different view from above. You see the very nice streets in the Alps, and actually many bikers like this road to go up into the Alps and also enjoy.
This lake that we're observing on the screen, do they boat on that lake? Do they water ski in the summertime? No.
Probably you could. So many lakes at lower locations are equipped for this. I mean, for water skiing or for swimming. Of course, in every lake you can swim, but often also in summer it's beautiful to swim. But on the other hand, it sometimes is also kind of very cold. So it's a kind of a combination. Once you walked up there and you really want to have a swim, it is of course possible. And the lakes actually are extremely clean. On the opposite, we sometimes even have a little bit of the challenge that the fishes are dying because the food is missing. And one of the reasons is the lakes are extremely clean. So we realized it's good to have clean lakes, but on the other hand, it also can change the population of the fishes if you don't have enough food for the fishes in there at the end. But in total, I think we can be extremely happy to have these many lakes and also variations in that.
So they're very clean, they're clear and cold.
It depends. In summer, I think you're very happy and that you have a cold lake where you can dive in.
Oh, and, yes. If your circulation is working, those lakes are great.
Yes. I mean, it's without doubt. And
sounds good.
Yeah. So the Swiss people, they have basically they like three kind of sports. It's really climbing, hiking. Also, on the other hand, they like skiing and snowboarding. I mean, this is what they really like very much.
Could you talk about hunting for a moment for those people out there that perhaps would like to visit Switzerland and hunt?
Hunting is maybe difficult for, I would say, tourists visiting the country because usually it's done by the local community, and there's a strict season where hunting is allowed. So usually it's in autumn, and you need a license to be able to hunt. And it still exists, but honestly speaking, I'm not the big hunter in that sense, and I rather like to watch the animals.
And what about fishing? Do people fish there, or tourists?
The fishing is common. I mean, it's possible that you can go fishing, for example, in the river, or you can also fish in the lake. Sometimes they don't like that people are fishing in the river because the fishes are populated. So that means you have to, I mean, make sure that the population of the fish is not getting too small. So I would say in the lake, at the lake it's possible, and every morning you have fishers going out to the lake and they catch the fishes and bring it back also for the restaurants and for the markets.
Well, you have quaint villages in Switzerland. It's a very homey place to be. Mm-hmm. The people are very friendly. And I understand the food is very good. So that many people like hiking, as you pointed out, climbing mountains, horseback riding. I imagine all of these that I just mentioned, people certainly indulge in. What other sports are popular in Switzerland?
Well, virtually wherever you can do something in a great environment. Obviously, in winter it's skiing, snowboarding. But for example, personally, I like very much with my wife is sleighing. So with the sleigh, go down the slopes as well, or the snow-covered streets. I mean, this is extremely popular. In summer, of course, you have all kinds of sports. What you can do is probably the most popular is hiking, also climbing in the mountains. But on the other hand, they really like mountain biking, for example, running a lot. Easy now around the lake or also in the mountains. So there you can also have their further activities. So I would say there's almost nearly no limit, because outdoor, whatever you can do outdoor, it's in high demand. So I just brought another picture with me that shows how on one hand the visitors, but also the Swiss really like to go out into the countryside or into the mountains. And this, as you see now on the image, it's a very special train. It's the Gelmer Bahn, it's called. It's the steepest cable car in the world. So you really can take it. And I would like to show quickly the other picture, where you can see how steep it is. So it rises in 10 minutes 1,500 feet, which is a very, very steep train. And it takes 10 minutes to go up there. And you have seen the train, so it holds around 20 people. And this is, it's really very impressive. And it's just next to the lake, what I have shown previously. This is a different view of two very young children riding this train. And I mean, it's absolutely safe, but it only gives an impression how steep it is. And it's really impressive to use also this kind of train. Talking about trains, probably you know this one here. It's a World Heritage. It got a recent title of a World Heritage, and it shows the train. It's a Landwasser Viaduct, it's called, and it's simply beautiful because it's so simple how the viaduct is built, and it has been built in 1901, so it's over 100 years old. And I really have to say, this is one of the signs where you have the combination on one hand, how Switzerland is really doing quite a lot in combining the nature with also the trains and other very nice mobilities, opportunities how to discover the countries.
What was that picture that was just on the screen, this one here?
Yes, I expected this question. I also showed these pictures to the staff in my office and asked them, what do you think, what is this? And it's actually, it's a drilling machine.
Really?
So it drills a tunnel, actually. And this drill has been used to drill the whole of the Gotthard, the new Gotthard tunnel, which is called the Gotthard Base Tunnel. And actually it's the longest tunnel in the world. So you see here the person, so and the drilling machine, and the drilling machine is around 10, 12 meter big, and it's used to build a long tunnel. What you see, for example, on this image,
and that tunnel goes right through the Alps. Am I correct?
That's correct. So it almost links Germany with Italy, and the purpose is that we have a much higher frequency of transportation. So we would like to have all the trucks moving away from the nice streets, actually going through the Alps, and have these streets cleared and have all the trucks on the trains, using the train. And it will be a very effective tunnel because there will be 200 trains every day going through, and it's 100 miles long. So there are 2 tunnels, so in total is 100 miles, which is definitely one of the longest tunnels. It's the longest tunnel in the world.
What great engineers you have in Switzerland to be able to build a tunnel through mountains. And I imagine they maintain it very well. And according to that picture I just now viewed, it's so clean. In that picture, it really looks very inviting. And why don't we continue? There are some questions I do want to ask you. So
Sure.
you continue on.
Yes.
I was going to say, with the climate in Switzerland, and by the way, the climate, you are highly elevated.
That's
You're
correct.
certainly not in the lowlands. People with asthma or who have different symptoms regarding the air, that would be a great help to them to visit during the period of time when they're bothered by their allergies. Mm-hmm. I would say, and I'm certainly not an authority on it, but I would say Switzerland would be a great comfort to people with allergies. The air must be very clean.
You're absolutely right. I mean, in the mountains we have many villages and great hotels where you can cure any different allergies. For example, you on one hand you try to find with it maybe certain cures, but on the other hand it definitely gives a relief. Definitely gives you less burden. So we have traditionally like Davos, which is now also very famous for the World Economic Forum, actually was in the past a place where the people stayed to cure themselves in the fresh air, also in the fresh nature. You're absolutely right. And there are many places. So Switzerland is full of very healthy places where you can dive into the nature and regain your forces.
Switzerland is known for watches.
Yes.
All over the world.
Yes.
For many, many years. They are today, up to today, great craftsmen when it comes to watches. And also, well, we could go into banking. The Swiss bankers, people would put their money in Switzerland for various reasons. How about Swiss cheese?
I expected that question. Yes, it's an old tradition because it comes from the very past where people needed some sort to store the milk, and cheese definitely is one of the ways how you can in many different ways you can have a very nice product with it. So we have a wide range from hard cheese, maybe most famous is the Emmental, but personally I come from one region which is called Appenzell, and we also have an extremely nice cheese there as well, so it's called the Appenzeller cheese. Talking about also this aspect, if you allow, I would like to show maybe one more picture. Is this fine?
Right.
What you see now on this picture is called the Solar Impulse. So it's an airplane. It's as big as a Boeing passenger airplane. And what you see on top of this plane, these are solar cells. And of course in the background, and same as on this picture here, where we have the lake in Neuchâtel, the airplane hovers over the plane, flies over the plane, and this is also a kind of a contribution back in Switzerland. It's now testing this plane to go around the world, so we are very optimistic that this plane in the year 2015 is able to fly around. And on this picture you also see the Bundeshaus, so it's a parliament building They are situated very nicely under the plain. And this is Bern, how we started. This is the capital of Switzerland, and you see how the plane is flying.
That's Bern.
That's Bern, yes. That's Bern.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about Bern. Would you like to say a few words about the capital?
Yes, I mean, the capital is also a World Heritage. So it's basically, it's a very old town. It's beautiful to visit. And of course, it's very international as well, because all the embassies are there. So we have a very nice mix of, on one hand, we have all the ministries are located in Bern, but on the other hand, it's also very open, very, very nice place, definitely to visit. So whenever you have a chance, you're cordially invited to visit us in Bern.
Tell me, some of the people would be interested in the nightlife there. Do you have nightclubs in Bern?
Certainly there are, but maybe not so many as in the larger cities like in Zurich or in Geneva. I think there you have much more variety. Bern by itself, I mean, it's a very old traditional city, but the people, I think they really like the life outside. So you have many nice restaurants, bars. So it's simply lovely to be there. I mean, it's like in Switzerland, you have many different environments. So, and this is the beauty behind it. So you can be in the capital, you can be in larger places like Zurich, or you can really be out in the mountains, you can be at the lakeside. So there are many possibilities.
Tell us about the food. What kind of food do they serve in the restaurants? I know you're right there, France, so for sure they must have French food there.
Yes, well, as you know, Switzerland is situated...
1 minute. Continue on.
Yeah.
We have 1 minute to go.
Sure. So it's only very small. We have an international cuisine in Switzerland, but we also have very traditional cuisine. So it's a very good mix. So most popular is fondue, raclette. Probably it's well known all over the world. Here in the US, you enjoy this also very much. So this, I would say, is maybe the most popular food, but we have a great variety in the food. So you can really eat everything from everywhere around the world, but also very typical Swiss.
I will say this to you. When I have a great guest, time just goes right by. And that's what's happened here.
Yes.
We've only got, I imagine, less than a minute. I hope all you people watching this show enjoyed it as much as I did. And you gave a great presentation.
Thank you very much.
I mean a great one.
Thank you very much, Seymour.
We know part of Switzerland, and we must invite you back for another segment. I'm sure there's so much to talk about, traditions and so forth, that I personally would like to know about. I know that they have certain folk dances or folk dancing in Switzerland that here in America we're not familiar with. Mm-hmm. So perhaps we can put something together and you could return again. It would be a very interesting and educational show for all of us.
Yes, it would be absolute my pleasure to come back.
I look forward to this. And with that, I imagine we only have seconds to go. So I will say to all you people, until we meet again, au revoir, adios, auf Wiedersehen, shalom, sayonara, yasu, zaichen, and sei gesund, which means stay well. Bye-bye for now until we meet again, and thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.